Hi, this is Cousin Russ. I'm back again to talk about Family Tree Maker and continuing dialogue from what I started the other day. I forgot to do a couple things this morning, was running a little bit late, but we're back now. And let me uh, start my screen share so you can see what I'm doing. Let me get rid of that, get rid of that. And now I can go to office hours. Not very well coordinated this morning, but that's okay. Let's see how that looks. Hopefully you see office hours on the screen. And what I'm going to do, if you would, make a comment and let me know where you're viewing from. Good morning, Flo. Good to see you. It's actually afternoon for me, morning for you. And let me know if you are a user of the Family Tree Maker program. But make a comment. Let me know where you're viewing from. So I'm going to continue with my dialogue that I started yesterday on the use of Family Tree Maker. And let me stop that screen and bring up the screen that I want to share that talks about Family Tree Maker. There we go. Hopefully I'm organized now that I'm ready to rock and roll. So anyhow, I am talking about my workspace rules. And this came about because of a comment that a user made about uh, about my rules that I have in my database. He said I would be interested in hearing more about the rules in the tasks. What are they and why? Yesterday, I did the planned workspace, and I'm going to continue with another workspace today. And along the way, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. And I really want to focus on, and I'll show an example or two of why I have the rules that I have and a couple of tricks to go along with that. Keep in mind that I have in the back of my mind as I go along and work through all these things, and I test them out for myself. But what I want to keep in mind is, what do I want to see when entering data and using Family Tree Maker? And what do I want you to see when you may see my research on an ancestry member tree or somewhere else? I also keep in mind the filtering feature of Family Tree Maker and how it sorts the information that we have. Uh, I see that there's now 4 people watching. Please leave in comments where you're watching this from and if you're a user of the Family Tree Maker program. So this is my family file rules that I'm going to be talking about. And I'm not going to go through all the rules, or that would take a day or two. I'm just going to focus on a couple each workspace. Today, I'm going to talk about the people workspace. And this is what the people workspace looks like in the tree view. This view for me is all about relationships. I do no work in the tree workspace. I do all of my work in Family Tree Maker, however, but I do not do it in the tree view, uh, the tree view in the people workspace, and I don't even fix relationships in this view. The other view, and the views I'm talking about, are the tabs at the top of the people workspace. So I am now in the uh, uh, person view, and it provides all the details about the person that I am working on. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about uh, this workspace. So this is the workspace, and I'm going to cover a couple of rules, and then I'll talk about why I do what I do. Remember yesterday in the plan workspace, I called that plan the sorting that I have on it is 000 note plan workspace. This is the 100 series or the people workspace. So I'm going to give a couple of the 100 series of note facts. And the first one is 101. The first one at the top of my list is that I say a research log or research notes will be used. It's become the more I use it, the more important it has been that I have used it. Family Tree Maker has a research log, and I will probably show that to you if I haven't already in a number of other demonstration or blog posts that I have. So I'm just making a note that anybody picks up this file from me. If I were to share the file, you will find research notes on it, everything that I do, because I'm not going to remember. The next one is that if I have an unknown name, I use 5 underscores. That is an unknown forename or an unknown surname. I use 5 underscores. I will demonstrate that in a few minutes, but if I have an unknown name, I enter 5 underscores. If the record that I look at has a married name for a female, I will first name her first name and 5 underscores. I will also document that the record had her married name, but I will make her preferred name, first name, and 5 underscores. Okay. The next thing is that for birth, marriage, and death dates, and the only thing that I have is the year, I precede that date with about, ABT, as it will show up in Family Tree Maker. It doesn't hurt anything, but it's a reminder for me that I don't have the full birth date. Now, if a census record gives me the month and the year, I don't touch that. But if a census record just has a birth year, I have about, because a census record with a year, I say that's a plus or minus 18 months, depending on how the enumerator asks the person or how the person answering the enumerator responded. That goes for any kind of record that just has any birth, marriage, or death record that has only the year. I precede that with the word about. I even run reports to make sure I've done that, but that's another topic. 130 note says census records. The resident date will be the official date of the census record. All other facts from that same record will have the date that the enumerator recorded the census information. The reason why I do that, a specific example, is that I had a family that were in the same census record in 2 different places. I could tell that it was the same family because I had them in New York for a couple of years. Then in one census record, they were in New York, and then they showed up in New Jersey. So I can tell by the date that the numerator recorded the information, the family had moved. Um, if you're watching, please leave a comment in the chat where you're viewing from, and if you're a user of the Family Tree Maker program. I am talking about the rules that I have in my database, and the numbers that are on the screen right now are the numbers as they are in Family Tree Maker. And a couple days ago, I demonstrated how I merged a file that has this information into my working file. One more one more of my rules is that when I do a census record, I do the merge from the head of household. Now, what's very interesting is that just today I was doing uh, a merge of a census record, and what I just told you uh, in those 3 items, in fact, all 4, the bottom 4 items, all the items on that list, I in fact did when I did that merge. So now I'm going to go back and talk about the 5 underscores. Here's the index at the top of my index of the file that I'm working on. And you will notice that there's a bunch of people at the top of that list that are 5 underscores, space, 5 underscores. I don't know their names. I can't tell from the screen whether they're male or female, but that doesn't matter. But you'll notice that the couple of them are direct line ancestors because I have the color coding turned on. This person I don't know their first name, but they have a middle initial of W, and I don't know their last name. So now we get into the females, and they're sorted alphabetically, but I don't know their last name. I'm going to stick on this next to the bottom. Her name is Anne, and 5 underscores. She's a direct line ancestor because she's got a color code of red. But let me look a little bit more at Anne. So if I look at Anne, I can tell that uh, I have her birth year and death year, and that she's married. So the color coding is important to me, and I really want to find out what her uh, birth surname is, but I don't have it yet. So I have Anne, and Anne is the wife of William Britton, and she's a direct line ancestor. She is my maternal grandfather's line. Now, when I played around, hi Paula, how are you from Ohio? A longtime Family Tree Maker user. Welcome. If you have any questions as I go along, please put them in the chat and I will answer them as I go along. I'm just Paula, I don't know when you joined, but what I am doing is going through the rules that I have for the People Workspace. Before I stuck with 5 underscores, I wanted to make sure that it doesn't interfere with hints. I absolutely rely on hints to do my research. Ancestry does a better job of finding my ancestors than I do using those hints. So I don't want to interfere with a hint. Now, you may see that she's got a hint on her screen, and if I follow that hint, I ended up with a record. And again, the title of the slide says underscores do not impact hints or search. And that is very important to me. I tried a bunch of different ways of doing it, like unknown or no middle name, whatever kind of things that I have seen people use, I have stuck with 5 underscores. Now, what's important about that record is it said he married Anne Begley in 1650. Guess what? I now know her birth surname. Now I do not get rid of her uh, 5 underscore name because there's a number of citations associated with that. And here is what it says. It says, and 5 underscores, that's the one I started with. Now added her married name. Her preferred name is the 5 underscores, but I do know her married name. And actually, from the record that I had, I can add her uh, birth surname. I did not do that on the screen, but my focus is on the dates. So you see that the death date, her birth date, is about 1635. Her death date is about 1699. Now, you'll notice that there's some padlocks on the left-hand side, though a padlock means that uh, it is private. It will not display on Ancestry, but I want to see it. The other thing uh, that's here is a historic place names, and that's a topic for another discussion. So that's her name, both names that I have for her until I found that record a minute ago, and I mark it as preferred. And that's where the abouts are. I should have looked at what what I had done in the PowerPoint. So I have circled the about dates. I'm very consistent about that. Uh, Paula says, I had been told that there should only be one name and all variants go into notes. I do not do that. I will not do that. Uh, it's up to you what you do, but I record what I see. I don't put stuff in notes. I want to see it on the screen that I'm looking at. And this screen is wrong in that I should have an entry for her birth surname because I just found it. Uh, Again, you can do what you want. I'm just sharing my rules and what has worked for me. From give you an example, my dad has 7 names. I found records that have him spelled several 7 different ways, and he's not the one that's got the most names yet. But I record what the record says, and I have to choose, however, what is the preferred name. And in this case, the preferred name is Ann 5 underscores. But this is my solution. The other thing that I want to point out is I use historic place names because in 1699, USA wasn't around. 1699, the province of Pennsylvania was around. But I want to use the map feature, which is why I have the current place name. The map feature will pick up this place. The map feature will not pick up this place. But that's my choice, and I will talk about that in another uh, live stream. Here's my task list. I figured I had done this. Here's my task list. Remember that book that I showed where I had the married name or the birth surname, but it wasn't in my database? I did that on purpose because what I did was created a task list that said, go look at a hint for the history of Delaware County, Pennsylvania. So until I actually record that information, that task is on my task list. And as I pointed out in the last video, that a green or a status of medium is something that I need to do, and the ones below this are completed tasks. This is a FTM hint. I had that hint that took me to the history of Delaware County, but I did not bring it into my database. And as I showed you, and I said that I didn't bring it in because I put it on the task list. So that is my rules for the people workspace, and how I demonstrated several of the rules that I have in the planned workspace. I'm about to close, but if you have any questions before I go, please put them in the comments. Just as a reminder, as you're watching that, please let me know where you're viewing from, and if you are a user of the Family Tree Maker program. You can leave comments. You can leave information in the chat while I'm live. Then afterwards, you can leave a comment in the video. And I'm going to hide that because what I want you to do is read the description for the office hours playlist. I've given you in the description of the playlist some information about what I'm trying to do here, and also has a way to leave questions for me to ask in an upcoming show. My blog is ftmuser.blogspot.com, which is in the description of the playlist. My plan is to continue to try to post the scheduled event a couple hours ahead of time. At the moment, I have no scheduled time that I'm going to do these. I'm going to try different time frames to see who is watching and who participates. And thank you, Paula. I appreciate the series. And I will, it's not clear to me that I'm going to post over the weekend, but I may. But again, I will schedule, so if you have subscribed to this YouTube channel, you'll get a notification that I have scheduled a live stream. I am doing this live stream, which is why I have the chat open, and will respond to the chat as I'm available or as I see them come in. So thank you for letting me know where you came from. Flo, good to see you again. Paula, thank you so much for your comments. Okay, have a great day and have a great weekend. Thank you very much.